Good morning, everybody. It is Palm Sunday. Yeah. As you can see, I'm not exactly dressed in church attire because I was a big failure this morning. Slept through my alarm from all the work I've been doing. I was exhausted. So I woke up and the wife was texting me, "Hey, you're not here." She works at her church, our church, family church. And obviously I didn't make it. But thank God for live stream, right? A lot of churches broadcast everything via the YouTube these days, so still managed to catch it from the comfiness of the bed. But I digress. Been pretty tired. If you caught the last video of redoing the chicken coop and starting to do some restructuring and rebuilding on the property, it takes a toll on the body, wears you down. So, I mean, it's good. You go to bed tired, you wake up fully rested. I mean, I feel, though I go to bed tired and I wake up sometimes late, but I feel better than I do if I'm just kind of going through the motions, so that's cool. But anywho, I'm finally up, I'm getting going for my day, and thought I'd go grab something to eat and pick up a couple of things that I needed before I get back to it, and thought I'd take you along with me, because I had this idea on my mind a little bit. There's one of the main roads we use to go between our town and like the next big town where like Home Depot and all the restaurants and everything is. They got it closed for a couple of weeks. They've been redoing all like the bridges and the culverts and stuff between the fields. So it just happens to be that road's turn. So it's closed, and big detour signs everywhere. And I've noticed as I've driven around that the detour is huge. Like, it's a main route for all the trucks and stuff shipping. So if like they come from, the city, then to the smaller suburbs, and then way out to the rural areas where we are, this is one of the routes they have to take. And since it's closed, like their detour is, it would take an extra probably 30, 40 minutes if they followed it exactly and they weren't from here and knew like their way around where they could sneak through. But that's insane. And then I thought, well, twofold actually. One, this will be mostly for the younger people or the people that just never really understood the concept of awareness of their surroundings, which is unfortunately a lot more people than I wish was the case in the world. When there's a detour, do you know how to get around? Do you know your way around your area enough that if you didn't have your phone or your GPS or whatever, you'd still be able to get from your start to your finished destination? Most people can't. You know how I realize this? Our son, Blake, is about to get his temps in a few weeks. And I've started doing this exercise with him that my parents did with me. I was always taught from like a tiny little kid to always be alert, because you never know what could happen. Like, say you're on the school bus and it wrecks, or you're with an adult and you're in a car crash and they're unconscious and you have to get help. Well, you need to know where you're at for the most part, and how to get to like key locations. Like, how do you get from where you are back to your own home, or to grandma and grandpa's house, or to your school, or a safe spot, the grocery store, sort of things like that. So my parents always were like, they'd play the game of, get me home or get me wherever. And they just drive and they don't do anything other than if you say turn, you turn. If you say go straight, you go straight. Those sorts of things. And your job is you get them there. The fun part is a 10-minute drive can turn into a 2-hour car ride if the person has no clue where they're going. So anywho, Blake being 15 and a half, I started doing this with him and all the girls in the car. And I've learned that generally it's our 10-year-old that actually knows her way around the best, because she, like me, has the photographic, records everything in an instant kind of memory, so she knows. Also, she doesn't really spend time in the car on a device. Out of all the kids, she's on hers the least. Like at the house, she's doing her art stuff, watching YouTube on how to do that. She's really cool with that stuff. She actually uses YouTube and the internet for how I think it should be. If I'm on YouTube, I'm watching it because I don't know how to do something, and I'm trying to find someone who's already done it to give me a real-life experience of how to do it. That's what she does, and that's awesome. It's not the mindless, let's just watch TikTok after TikTok or all these dumb videos or whatever. So, good job, Natalie, for doing that. But anyway, she's usually the one that can tell me how to get somewhere, and we get there in pretty much the same amount of time as if I was just driving without asking him. But anywho, I digress. With the detours, it's made me think that I don't think Blake could get to where he's going because he's always down on his phone. And the few times I've tried to get him to do the, hey, get me there, we've gotten lost. No offense, bud, but we've been lost a lot. And it's sad because, it made me think how many people in the world, when faced with a simple detour, are lost. That's it. They don't know where they're going, and they probably couldn't even find their way back to where they were, because some people will be like, well, the road's closed, I just can't go, because they don't know where they're going. And if they don't have the phone to tell them, they can't figure it out. And that sucks. That's like, I don't know. I mean, I've done a lot of driving across the country in my life. I grew up in Ohio, obviously. It's where I'm back here now. Lived in California and been all over the place. I've driven cross country, I think 12 times now. And I started doing it before smartphones became like everybody had one. I think my first drive was before the iPhone even was released, like the iPhone 1. Yeah. I'm that old, kids. It's okay. I know, I look so young and vibrant. Anywho. So yeah, back then you had MapQuest and the Atlas, that big thing that Dad always got out before a road trip or a vacation, and he took it, and he shared it with everybody, and he had it. So, gotta slow down. There's a sheriff. Not that I speed or anything, but anywho. So, yeah, I know how to read a map. I know how to orientate myself. I know how to do that. You plan your trip, and part of that is just knowing it. I mean, you have to actually apply the knowledge. Go, okay, this road to here, this road to here, this road to here. And, if you look it up, like, in the old MapQuest type stuff, you could at least print out directions. Whereas, before you'd handwrite them. You'd go in the Atlas and say, all right, I take this freeway to this interchange, to this freeway, to this road, to that. And then before you know it, you're there. And then back home. But now, with everyone's phone, they just do it that way. So most people don't do it. I can drive from Ohio to California without looking at directions. And I've done it several different ways, because you just do it. You have to learn it. And even if there's a detour, you have to understand like the concept of how roads are made. I remember it from driving school, and then I started learning it because I knew I was going to travel a lot. That's what I wanted to do with my life. And it was the freeway system. Like, there's the 40, which goes through, the southern states like Oklahoma, Texas, Arizona, and all them. Then there's 80, that's the middle states. And then I think it's the 120, I think so. That goes way up north, Montana, Idaho, and all that to Washington. And it goes east to west. Those are interstates. And then, like, here, there's 75 that goes from the tip of Michigan all the way down to Florida. East to west are even numbered roads. North to south are odd number roads. And then the way they're stacked, if it ends in a 0, if it ends in a 5, if it ends in a 1, those things, all that matters. And most people don't know that stuff anymore. I mean, it is what it is. You can look all that up for yourself, figure it out. But the point of a detour is most people can't find their way around, and it sucks. So start playing little games with yourself or with people, your kids or whatever in the car, and see if you can get places without your phone. Sometimes it's just fun. You might find a new restaurant, you might find a new cool spot to hang out while you're 2 hours off the mark, but it's something to do, and it's good, because God forbid there comes a time where your phone doesn't work. I mean, you can take it to the extreme of, he's being, the crazy prepper survivalist type of, there's going to be an EMP or a grid down situation and there's nothing going to work. I can make it very simple. Your battery died. How many times has your phone died and you don't have your charger cord because someone took it out of your car, or a kid borrowed it, or the cord broke because you've had it for, a year and you don't take care of it and it's all warped and frayed and all that, and this just happens to be the moment it doesn't work. You don't have a phone. And you went to somebody's birthday party or some event or some meeting or whatever, and it happened to die while you were way out in the middle of nowhere or in a city you don't know, and you don't know how to get home. And you didn't teach yourself how to read a map or, whatever. Or God forbid, you actually have to go in to a gas station and ask for directions. Well, now you're rolling the dice. Most people don't like doing that because for some reason everyone's socially awkward these days. It's in the food. But I don't know. I think that's just because people have lost touch because of the lack of social interaction, because everyone's on the phone. It's easier to send a text than to just walk up to someone and say hi. But that's a different issue altogether. But then again, you could walk into the gas station, you'll ask for your directions, and the kid or person behind the counter will be like, can't you just look it up on your phone? That's the world we live in, and that sucks. So made me think a lot about making sure for any situation, whether it really is some horrible like SHTF type situation where you don't have access to information, or it's as simple as your phone died, or you're just a kid who is just now getting started in life and you're about to get your driver's license and you don't know how to get from your house to your school or your house to your grandparents' house that you go to every single week, who is less than 10 minutes away from your own home. Yeah, I got work to do with these guys, but it's okay. It's good to teach. It's good to pass on the knowledge in a positive way, because then they have it and they'll be able to successfully not just apply it, but pass it on when their time comes too. So there's that. So yeah, made me think a lot about detours. The other thing it made me think about when it comes to a detour is, as far as the perseverance and being able to think the multiple ways to get to the goal. You get faced with a detour in life, not just on the road, and you think, well, I still have to get to here, or I really want to get to that point, but there's all these roadblocks or construction or detours that say you can't go this way. Well, that's the only way you know. Well, maybe start teaching yourself that there's more than one way to do things, or that it's not as scary as you think to try something and get yourself a little lost, or get yourself a little out in the open and find your way, build your way, use other people's examples to get there. Because eventually it's the perseverance and it's that, drive that you have to ultimately reach your goal. Like right now, we're working on getting the house fixed up. We're working on taking care of the property and really structuring it in a way that functions. That way, God forbid, Celia got sick, or I got sick or hurt, or the kids, or whatever. So, let's make it a positive thing. Sorry about that. That almost fell off there. Make it a positive thing of the family's going on vacation. Well, if we're going to be gone for a week and we need someone to help, take care of our dogs and our sheep and our chickens and all this stuff, you can't have 87 different things going on and then expect someone who's usually like the neighbor or, our parents or the kid, grandparents or, whatever, the people that don't do this on a daily basis, that are willing and have the time to come in and struggle with all of it, that they're going to be able to handle it and be okay with it, because they'll struggle through that one time, but they'll never volunteer to help you out again. And outside of that, time is something you never get back. So if you're constantly wasting your time on, I got to go over here to feed this one, and I got to go over here to water this one, and I got to walk back and forth, and I got to climb over that fence, and then I got to walk around here, and that doesn't work. It doesn't work at all. So you got to streamline everything. So the point of that is that's what we're doing. That way it functions better. But to the point of, having a detour is, everyone just thinks like I'll tell Blake anymore. Like, we build a lot of stuff and he's like, nah, just get this person, pay this person to come in and take care of it. Okay, guy. Now I throw back at him. He's like, all right, give me the $1,000 it's going to cost some guy to come in and build that. Well, I don't have that kind of money. I'm just a kid. I know you're not. I got 4 kids and a wife and a farm and all this stuff, and I make X amount of dollars. Well, why should I pay people to do what I'm capable of doing? Even if I don't know how to do it, I still can do it. I just have to learn the process. That's the kind of detour you have to be able to go around of, well, I need this done, whether it's putting on a new roof or fixing my septic system or building a new barn or chicken coop or whatever. Well, all that together would cost me $50,000, if I did all of what I just said. Well, I don't have $50,000 just laying around. I have not yet gotten my lottery money in the mail. I know it's coming, but hasn't arrived yet. So I have to accomplish all those things because, if those all were problems, the roof would still leak, the toilet still wouldn't work, and the animals would still be, in danger without shelter. So it has to get done. So what do? You look up ways to do it, and you see what you have at your disposal, and then you take your detour and you find your way around it. And that's just a basic example. There's tons of stuff, whether it's, what you want to do with your career, whether it's where you want to live, whether it's, pick your poison. It is what it is. So I digress. That must be the word this morning. I keep getting off track. But just thought I'd throw that out there. Don't be afraid of the detour. Always have a backup plan of where you can get around and how you can get around, and it'll be great. And yeah, keep on doing your thing. Sorry, I'm trying to turn in. There's a lot of traffic. Keep on doing whatever it takes to get around the roadblock, because at the end of the day, no one else is coming. It's your thing, and it's your job to take care of it. And you will take care of it because you're good at it. We're all good at it. It just takes the time and the energy and the dedication to do it. And we'll get it done, detour or not, because that's what heroes do. Happy Sunday, y'all.